Back. It's a Money Monday. You're watching Liquid Lunch. I'm not at the Corona Bunker Studios. I'm at the Speakeasy News Studios, newly formed, my new startup, right here next to Max Pub. We have an adjoining backyard. Many donors around the country have sent in donations, and we just over the weekend built this huge heated outdoor seating area so we can have a live audience, just like Saturday Night Live. Although the governor and the mayor are kind of pissed off about it, and they're trying to take me to court to actually shut down a free press, which is bizarre. But we'll know more later today, and I'll bring that to you as soon as I can. But a guy who has a big voice and talks to the nation every week and puts it in regular terms for the regular man. He's the host of the new blockbuster show on Newsmax TV, The Saturday Agenda. My good buddy, been with us from day one, Joe Pinion, joins us right now. Hey, buddy, how are you?
Good to be with you, my friend. How's everything going?
Well, Joe, it could be worse. The governor and the mayor could have won right away. I'm hoping that the judge is going to see things my way and tell them that they can't shut down a free press. But so far, so good, my man. I'm watching you, of course. You're doing fantastic. What do you think? We're New Yorkers. We're talking to people nationally, but this is happening all over the country. These guys just happen to be the first two guys to open their mouth. What do you think about what's happening?
I mean, look, first of all, it should be quite telling that you're so concerned about coronavirus. You want to basically put the working man out of business. You're shutting down bars and restaurants and all the people that depend on those establishments to make a living, to feed their families. But now, even when you've basically succeeded in shutting down the restaurant, that's not enough. So if a community comes together to somehow find the resources to allow them to weather the storm, if somebody like yourself who says, hey, I'm in need of a space, and I'm willing to put forth some resources to use your space in a capacity that is completely separate from anything related to any liquor license or any food being served or any people walking through the door. No, it's not enough for them not to be able to conduct their business as business as usual. Now they just want to make sure that they can actually stay in business and survive the lockdowns that they've imposed. And so I think on some basic level, what you have to present to the American people is to say that this isn't about your health. Health is important. You should protect yourself at all times. But these policies are about trying to create an environment that rebuilds America through the prism that they want, right? This is about the articles that come out saying, oh, all of a sudden, maybe we should consider moving people into office buildings because the office buildings are empty. Oh, maybe we should talk about the fact that maybe the state of New York can allow people to reopen the businesses that have been abandoned, right? So this is about social engineering 101, using a very real health crisis as an opportunity to basically reimagine America and doing it on the backs of the people that have made America what it is today.
No question, Joe. Great points. And, I think Mark Levin wrote the book, The War on Cash. And I was looking at this yesterday and I'm thinking, wait a minute. In New York, we just found out from Governor Cuomo's presser on Thursday that one of the heads of his health department said that bars and restaurants are number 6 in New York City as the top spreaders. Number 6. Number 6 is 1.6% of the cases in New York trace back to a bar and restaurant. 70% of the cases in New York trace back to a home. So they want to squeeze us back in our homes where 70% of the cases are coming from and shut down the restaurants. So to your point, you start thinking, what's the real agenda here? You know what I'm saying? And this me and you both know this. We're New Yorkers. We get out there, we shake and bake it. We're socializing, we're networking when you're allowed to. Where are the money centers for cash businesses? Bars and restaurants. They get paid cash. The waitresses get paid cash. The bartenders, the busboys, they get tips in cash. And I really think this is part of an overriding agenda to get us to a cashless society, because bars and restaurants are a menace to them because there's a lot of green currency floating around. What do you think?
I mean, to be clear, I mean, the government and these people who believe in more government are never happy unless they have more money flowing through their hands and their hands only. So I think that just goes without saying. But I think also, again, this notion of, what's good for the goose also has to be good for the gander. I don't think it is surprising that all of a sudden you've got the governor himself being accused of fostering a hostile work environment. And the chairman of the Women Are to Be Believed coalition all of a sudden decides that he's going to release the HR records of the woman who's accusing him of sexual harassment. So I
Right.
don't think that's a coincidence that less than 5 hours on a Sunday, after a woman had accused him of basically engaging in predatory behaviors, that somehow this HR report just happened to find its way to an enterprising journalist email inbox. So look, this is just, again, this notion of liberals who don't actually care about the things that they are preaching. And we're the individuals who have to deal with the brunt of bearing the brunt of this burden. You're talking about New York City. You're talking about over 300,000 jobs, $35 billion in economic productivity. Those are real people. Those are hardworking New Yorkers. And those types of jobs are under attack all across this nation by people like Cuomo, people like Newsom, people like Whitmer up in Michigan, who don't seem to understand that you cannot mandate that people stay home, but at the same time do absolutely positively nothing to make sure that they can actually survive the mandate in the first place.
Joe, it's crazy. And the parallel here is this. A woman comes out and says, hey, I was sexually harassed by the governor for years. That's why I quit. They wouldn't let me get my job back, right? And the first move isn't for these organizations to say, all right, let's take a look at it. Every woman's to be believed, because that's what we heard in the Me Too movement. Every woman's to be believed, unless the truth you're coming out with is against a progressive governor, right? So they release her HR records that say, some folks that worked under her said that she was a bully, and they try to paint her in a bad light.
Yeah,
The same
apparently
way,
she's the one doing the harassing now. Apparently,
yeah, right. She's the harasser now. That's the gaslighting they do, right?
yeah.
They make you the bad guy. And it's really what they try to do to these poor guys here at Max Pub. What they try to do is paint them as criminals to turn public opinion against them. So they send these untrained sheriffs down here to do a 20-man takedown of a guy who's literally 5'4", 140 pounds. Okay, he was in plain sight. All they had to do was pull up and say, hey, man, get against the wall. Instead, they chase him down in the street in these SWAT uniforms with the pullover black woolies with the eyes showing. They wanted it to seem like he resisted arrest. And it's the same thing they're doing to this lady. They put out bad news about you when you're taking on the emperor. And it's friggin' scary, Joe.
I mean, look, it's no secret. I think we're going to talk about it on the show this week. It might end up being my monologue that Governor Cuomo, for years, in many ways, has been a tyrant in every sense of the world. And I think that this notion that people are afraid to come forth, I mean, people have to remember that, they're talking about being confirmed as attorney general. He couldn't get through a confirmation hearing. I mean, this is a man who literally shut down his own Moreland Commission on corruption after the corruption committee decided to turn its eyes towards him. So
Right.
look, I mean, he can say whatever he wants to say about President Trump, but the only reason that he might not find himself in prison himself is because President Trump decided to fire Preet Bharara in the dead of night on a Friday. So let's just be very clear about what happened here. This is a pattern of behavior that has been hiding in plain sight, that no one in the press wants to talk about. Whether they don't want to talk about Tara Reid when they accuse Joe Biden, they don't want to talk about Governor Cuomo when he gets accused here, and none of the other things that have happened here, where he talks to the press in the same way that they accuse President Trump of talking to the press. No one wants to talk about that ill-gotten behavior. So look, it's just apparently and unfortunately much ado about nothing, because the truth doesn't seem to be what the press is after these days.
That's for sure. And, when there is a member of the press like myself trying to speak truth, the governor does the same thing. He goes into New York State Supreme Court under the cover of darkness at 6:30 p.m. on a Friday night, doesn't even notify my attorney. We found out through a friend in the court system, hey, you guys better answer this. And we did, and we think we won. But it gets scarier, when they start talking about shutting down guys like me and you, who are just trying to call it like we see it. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like you're you're like Morgan Freeman and Lean on Me. It's like, put the chains in the doors. The enemy is here. The enemy is here.
No doubt.
So,
Hey, Joey, one of my viewers just sent it in that we are in an Irish pub, and maybe we should get Joe Pinion down here at the pub one of these days to stand
Well,
in solidarity.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll come in. I guess we'll have to buy some beer from the bodega because, God forbid, we don't want our dear friends at Mac's Public House to get in any more trouble. So,
Well, you know
it's
what? I got some of my old friends from Liquid Lunch coming to the rescue because Question Tequila is going to provide us with some giveaways, and Hooters brand liquors is probably going to provide us with some more. And nobody knows better than you. We've been giving away free liquor on Liquid Lunch for a couple of years now. So come and get me, brother.
there is precedent there. They can't say that it's a scam. It's like, no, 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 it's a way of life.
That's right. All right. All you guys out there, you got to check out Saturday Agenda with Joe Pinion on Newsmax TV, the fast growing cable network in America, and the hottest blockbuster show, if you ask me. Joe, thanks, brother. Anytime you want to come on down, you're welcome. We'd love to have you.
We'll have to sort it out. Let me know how that case works out.
No doubt about it. I sure will. Joe Pinion from Newsmax. Great new show, Saturday Agenda. All right, we're going to take a quick break right now. I'm waiting for news from my attorneys. Hopefully, this judge is going to make a decision today. And if they do, I'm going to bring it to you live and local right here the minute I hear about it. But we'll take a quick break. We'll come back and wrap up hour one right after this.